The thing that makes the Sabre 37 FLL unique is the fact that this front living room fifth wheel can sleep a ton of people thanks to the loft that has two different sides. Now, that's great if you have kids, it's great if you have grandkids, or if you just need additional storage. But of course, you still get the great front living room, which arguably is the best setup in any fifth wheel, because you have slides right across from each other, which give you this huge living room space. Both have sofas, and these can fold out into beds too. So if you have additional guests, you have even more sleeping capacity in here. Or if you just want people to be able to sit around and enjoy the TV, you can do that. You'll notice theater seats right across from it, fireplace underneath, and plenty of storage all the way around. And if it's a hot day, you'll still stay cool, because this one has not one, but two 15,000 BTU AC units. The kitchen is quite large as well. You'll see you kind of have this U-shaped kitchen. Now, because it is a heavier fifth wheel, they use true solid surface countertops, which I certainly appreciate, not only because they look nicer, but they're also going to be the most durable, just a little bit heavier. The sink is your apron front kind of gunmetal sink, which I like. Here is almost my favorite feature in this RV. I love the idea of it, but I think it could be done better. I think it's just poor execution. Here's the idea. What they did is they put a built-in step. So this drops down just like so, which allows me to step up here and be able to reach some of these higher cupboards. That's really smart, especially in a fifth wheel, because a lot of times you just don't have a good way to do it. My issue is, how do I reach this one? This step is over here, it doesn't move. For me, I would have just liked a nice foldable step that could have gone in there, be able to bring it out, set it here, and be able to access some of these higher things. My even bigger concern with it is the fact that there's no locking mechanism to keep it in here. It's just kind of the door that has to keep it in. So when my 3-year-old goes to open this, it's gonna fall out and crush her toes, and I'm not gonna be very happy. What do you think? I think this could have been done better. I love the idea of it. I think it's just a little off. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because I think we can do better. When it comes to appliances, you'll see your large convection microwave, 3-burner cooktop with a lot of space in between burners, which is important because that means you can use bigger pots and pans on here. Plus we have a sizable oven. You'll also notice the outlet right here is inverter prepped. So if you want to be able to do some off-grid camping, if you do get the inverter, those electrical outlets are already run for it. One of the things I think that Sabre did really well, and honestly better than a lot of other manufacturers, is to utilize what is normally wasted space. And what I mean by that is, for example, take a look underneath the steps. You will see that they have a very particular spot for shoes, and it's right next to the entrance, right where you would want it to be. They also utilize some of this space underneath the peninsula by giving you a spot to have a food and water dish for your dog, so you just have a permanent location for them, and you have easy access storage on the other side of your cabinets. However, one of the things I kind of wish they would have done here that I think would be a good move, and Sabre, if you're listening, listen up, is to extend this countertop just an extra inch or two on this side. I think if they were able to do that, I think you would get enough room here for some bar stools. And with how many people you can have in this RV and how many people it can sleep, I think you need some additional seating areas when it comes to eating. And I think that would help accomplish it. But I want to know what you think. If you're watching this, do you think that extra 2 inches would close this space off too much? Or do you think it would give it that kind of nice extra seating space? Let me know in the comments. This hutch area is pretty nice as well here for a couple different reasons. One, just because it gives you a plethora of storage in the form of drawers, storage right down underneath, and a pretty big pantry here. The thing I love about it though is it's one of two, because you have a second pantry area by the refrigerator. So they've done a great job of giving you a lot of additional storage space in the kitchen. You'll also see that they have electrical outlets here, and again, big fan. Not only do you have USB-A, but you also have USB-C ports. If we take a look over at the off-camp side, now this is all one big slide right here, which is why you have this great walkway. The disadvantage is that when this slide is closed, it makes it tough to get to the fridge. But when it's open, you have a great walkway and you're able to fill this up with things like your main dining table. You have 2 seats here, plus this large bench seat. I personally am a fan of the bench. The bench also, worth noting, has some additional storage in here. I just put these straps in there to strap everything down in this seating area. It's a great location for them. And the same thing with your seats. You have some additional storage underneath those. Now I talked about the extra storage space, and this is what I was referring to, that second pantry rather. You can see this right here. The shelves are removable. So if you have like a Swiffer or something, you can remove those shelves and still have room for them. And the fridge freezer combo is a 15.6 cubic foot fridge. So you have a lot of cold storage in this RV too. The bathroom is pretty good size considering its location. You can see as far as height, I'm 6 foot tall. It probably could be 6'3", maybe even 6'4", still be able to stand in here without having to duck down. There's also a seat as well as some shelves here in the corner. You have the tri-slide glass door. And as we step out, you will notice the large sink and vanity. I personally like a larger bowl just because as you're brushing your teeth, a little bit easier to not make a mess. Same thing with washing your hands, less splash. And even though there is a medicine cabinet, it sits back far enough, it's not going to get in the way. You'll also see your tankless water heater control is right here, as well as a GFCI outlet as you'd expect. And when we take a look at the toilet, you can see I have great space for my knees as well as my shoulders, and it is a porcelain bowl, which again is going to be preferred because it'll stay cleaner a lot longer. One point of contention I have, and I want to know your thoughts, is the zebra blinds. Cherokee is the only manufacturer that uses them, and they love them. And I'm kind of on the fence. The idea behind them, if you haven't seen them, is that depending on how you move them or where you place them, depends on how much light comes in or out. And if you move them quickly up and down, it is seizure inducing. But my question is, do you like them? Do you hate them? I'm kind of on the fence. I think functionally, they work. But as far as the way they look, not a huge fan. What are your thoughts? Let me know. And this is what makes the Sabre 37 FLL different from so many other front living room fifth wheels out there, is the fact that you get this huge loft space. I mean, I'm 6 foot tall. I can I can't stand up. I can sit up in here, which is honestly pretty impressive. Now, only on this side, I can't on the other. But the fact I can sit up on one side means that you can actually sleep adults up here. You get a bed. I mean, at 6 foot tall, I'll lay down here. Look at that. I have plenty of space, both front and back, which I think is pretty darn impressive. And there's a spot for a TV on the opposite wall, as well as some additional storage there. Plus, right here behind me, good window space and that second AC right up top. I'm telling you, if you're looking to be able to sleep a lot of people, this space up here is actually pretty darn nice. But alas, all of that space comes at a price. And that price is going to be bedroom headspace. At 6 foot tall, I can make this happen, no problem. Honestly, 6'1", you're still good. But if you're a taller person, you're gonna struggle in the bedroom. For everyone else that, isn't super tall, I think this works. I think it's a great setup. The bedroom itself is pretty wonderful. I mean, you have a king bed here in the center, which I'm on the fence about too. I want everyone's opinion on this one. Even if you didn't comment on anything else, please let me know, because I'm a big fan of a residential size queen, a 60 by 80 in an RV, because I like to be able to walk around the bed. Now, I do have a pretty big butt, so that may be the difference. Maybe that's why it's hard. But I like to be able to walk around the bed, and a king bed makes it tough for me to make the bed. I understand having more space while you're in it, but let me know in the comments below. I have a king at home, queen in an RV. That's just my 2 cents. Let me know yours. But you get the king here, storage on both sides, huge storage in a slide out. Like, there is no storage shortage in this bedroom. I think they do very well. And it has washer dryer prep. So overall, I think they did a really good job as long as you're not too tall. But that's just the inside. There's a lot of great things in here, but at the end of the day, you still want to know how well it's going to tow, what you're looking at for storage outside, and how it's built. So let's go check that out. So here we go. Let's start with a little bit of construction on the Sabre. Now, I kind of like to start at the bottom and work our way up. And that's going to start with the tires. This one is sitting on 235/80 R16s. Nothing crazy about the suspension, pretty standard. You're going to have a leaf spring suspension on there. The underbelly is going to be fully enclosed, insulated, and heated though. So it is going to be a little bit better in some cold climates. Because your valve bodies themselves are insulated, as are all the lines. Start to come up a little bit further, the sidewalls are all vacuum bond laminated, as are these slide boxes. Now note I said sidewalls, not necessarily front cap and rear cap, but these sidewalls will be. And then as we make our way all the way up to the top, this one has a little bit different roof membrane than most. You're looking at a PVC roof. Couple big differences there from your PVC compared to like your standard EPDM or your TPO. It is still going to be flexible, as it has to be when it's on an RV because of all the flex in the RV itself. But again, for the price point, you're getting a pretty decently constructed coach. Now let's talk some of the features on the outside. Right up front is where your spare tire is going to be stored. You'll also see a solar charge controller, as this one has that 30 amp controller in there, and a 100-watt solar panel up on the roof. Now, I would have liked, again, to have seen a little bit more, maybe 200 watts, as a lot of RV manufacturers have as a standard. 100 isn't going to run a whole lot as far as essentially your draw will most likely be a lot higher than what you're going to bring in. But what it will do is help you keep that battery topped off. So it'll just kind of give you that trickle charge into the battery. Make our way back a little bit further, you will see this one does have your auto level. It's an electric auto level, but any auto level is better than not having it. You just hit a button, it does everything else for you. And electric makes sense because you don't have any hydraulic slides. Generally, if you have hydraulic auto level, it's because the system already has hydraulic slides. These are going to be electric. You'll see the cable slide right here, which you will have with some of your smaller rooms. Comes to propane tanks. Open this one up for you just so you can take a look. Again, this is one of those things where they save a little bit of money, which, isn't a bad thing. Again, it saves you some money too if you don't care. You'll see you have two 20-pound tanks instead of 30s. A lot of fifth wheels will come with a little bit bigger tanks, but if that's not a concern to you, then you're good to go. If it is, again, you can buy bigger tanks. There is enough space in there for a 30-pound tank, so don't think that there isn't. Now, because this is a front living, the number one issue with a front living room fifth wheel is going to be exterior storage. And this one is not an exception. You can take a look in there. It's still pretty good. I mean, you don't have any vertical piping run through. They did a good job of making it pretty clean, but it's not a drop frame up front, so you're not getting the extra space here. And it just doesn't give you a lot of width either. So they did pretty decent, given the fact it's front living, but it could be a little bit bigger in a different floor plan. Now, there are some front living rooms out there that have done something a little bit different, and instead of giving you the loft, have given you a lifted bedroom and put space underneath that bedroom. So it becomes a trade-off. Do you want more exterior space? Do you want sleeping capacity? Because there's a front living room that can satisfy both. Your entrance into the coach uses the MoreRide step above step system. Excellent steps, easy to use, and you have a beautiful tempered glass door on here, which I really enjoy. And as you'd expect, all of that is going to be underneath the power awning. Open this up for you just so you can see the outside kitchen. Couple things here that they did very well too. You will see, let me stick that up there with the magnet. You'll see you have a little bit of storage, sink right here. I do like the metal countertop, and they have a spot for a portable speaker, which I enjoy because I do like to have some additional outside music. And honestly, a lot of manufacturers that put speakers on the outside of RVs, they don't generally work very well. So I would much rather have a portable or a Bluetooth one. If you want this one, great. It can you basically sit it right there, or you can bring your own, whichever your preference is. My biggest thing about this, though, is that they have a larger outside refrigerator. I don't know about you, but for me, this is what I'm looking for in the outside kitchen, this right here. Why? Because that's where I'm gonna put all my beverages, right? There'll be beverages for me, beverages for the kids, maybe some extra condiments, but that's where it is going to be. And there's a propane quick connect underneath, so that if you want to do a little bit of cooking, you have the ability to do that. The last thing I wanna hit on this side is the leash latch. We saw that we had a bowl for our food and water inside. They also want to make sure you have a space outside here for your pup. On the back, you will have a backup camera that is standard, and it is going to be prepped for the Lippert ladder on the go. Something that is unique about this one, as you will see, is it has a drop frame here in the back, which is how they're able to fit so much in this space. Again, normally that's in the front, they have it in the back here. They probably didn't do it in both because it's just going to add too much weight. The other thing I want to point out on this side is that you do have dual terminations. You'll have one right back here for your black tank, another one up front for both of your gray tanks because you have one just for the kitchen galley. And as you can see, those valve bodies are insulated. And on the off-camp side, you'll see the tankless water heater here, as well as all of your water connections, including a black tank flush and easy winterization. The only thing I have to say I don't like about this is the fact there's not a light. So if you're like me and you're camping after work and you need to hook up at night, that's going to make it pretty tough. Now, as I mentioned, this front living is unique because it has all the sleeping capacity. Now, if you're looking for something that has maybe a half bath in the living area or you want more exterior storage, well, I have a couple of those for you coming up.